Rolling. We good? And hold on 1 second. All right, Ash.
Hi.
Hi. Tell us your name and how to spell it.
My name is Ash Gonzalez, ASH, short for Ashley, and Gonzalez with an S at the end.
How do you spell Ashley?
ASHLY.
Okay. Tell us how you got into art.
Fell into it in high school. I was going to be like an architect, draftsman kind of, but then my drafts teacher threw me into art class. So I stayed in that, and then that's where it basically began.
And what kind of art did you typically start with?
Classical.
Okay, what does that mean?
Renaissance work, portraits, painting. Studied a lot of classical artists like Leonardo and Raphael and all that jazz. And I thought that's what I kind of wanted to vibe into, work at museums and stuff. But I also loved comic books. And I grew up with Alex Ross and all his work back in the 90s. So I kind of wanted to make a vibe, a mesh of that. And was going into college, I kind of changed my avenue and wanted to do animation, computer animation, thinking, it would be cool to work for Disney or Pixar and all that. So I went to Art Institute of Houston, graduated from there. They kind of like threw me. I was like, oh yeah, you want to do comic books? Do animation. So they kind of swindled me into doing that. But then once I graduated, it was kind of hard to make ends meet. So I decided just to paint, just go back to my roots and paint, and kind of kept falling into things. And fell into doing Comic Cons with all the paintings that I did. And that's how I kind of fell into now. Back in 2019, I was still doing a lot of celebrity covers for a lot of clients, and I just decided to contact Upper Deck just with an email and sent them a couple of things. Somebody from Upper Deck contacted me back, and then we started vibing back and forth, and then he gave me the first card set was Marvel Masterpieces. And I decided I'm going to take what I did, same skill, same quality with my covers, and put it on cards and see where that goes. And it turned out pretty well. And then projects kept coming in, and it was all good for now. And then my favorite cards, or particular card, right, you mentioned? Yeah. It was a long shot, and it had a whole bunch of arms of different aliens and different women, and they're all like all of them. But I liked how his persona, because that's where I always wanted to focus on. Each card was their face and their the way they're portraying their mood and all that. And I just loved how the concept looked, and I think that's my favorite card. Now. As of now, it could probably take up to an hour to 8 hours, give or take. Like when I started, things were different, and I could probably pump them out like every hour, but not anymore. It's just depending on how much goes into the card, it could take varies. Time varies. Mostly, I think anything Venom I do, it pretty much gets a lot of recognition, and any females I do pretty much take any recognition. They're sellers. No men sell.
That's the Instagram reel right there.
Yeah. Men do not sell cards.
That's not gonna be a PC response at all.
Just being honest. I mean, that's what. I didn't say naked women. I'm just saying, or anything of that nature. Just females in general, the female heroes.
Did you ever struggle with anatomy?
No. Well, I mean, at first, yes.
Okay.
What helped, and I think what would help most artists too, is that you just have to dive into the deep end and paint from life, because that was the big hurdle that I had to get over from high school to college. In college is where it really amped up, because we had an anatomy class. We had to paint a lot of nudes, and we had to do them in a time frame from 5 minutes to 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and to do a bunch of them in crunch time. That really speeds up the part of the brain that helps anatomy. And also seeing how the muscles fold over the bone and the skin folds over the bone, and it sounds really morbid, but that's just how you see how your arm bends, and you see the skin fold and the muscles contract and flex. And once you see that and you put it in the muscle memory, it really helps. The length, that's a big thing, where, because if you look at somebody from junior high or younger and they got long arms, but I'm just being artistic. You get that whole correction, but you get to see the structure of human.
How long does a piece like the one behind you take?
Also varies. The quickest I've done is a day. The longest I took was 2 weeks.
One piece.
Yes. Like the Tron back here, maybe 3 weeks tops.
And what inspires your art pieces?
It's usually the design, and the concept, and the mood, and the feeling that when I saw the movie, of that scene, is really probably what captured me, and I wanted to capture that scene and always have it either in my possession or just always want to look at it, and how that scene, how I felt when I saw that movie, and usually what comes up and makes me want to paint it, make it more artistic and stuff like that.
Is there a dream job for you?
I'm usually living it right now. And, I usually take life as it goes, because you never know what might happen. But right now, I'm really happy where I'm at, artistically, and because before, usually trying to find ends meet, and you're really not happy where you are, even though you're being a graphic designer, but something keeps gnawing at you to you want to do this, and you keep getting the vibe of the starving artist. But it's I think it's that grind that pushes you, like Rocky being in the gym, in the gritty gym, not the Rocky 3 fancy gym, that keeps you wanting to struggle up and climb the mountain.
I feel like we talk to a lot of artists who don't see the talent that everybody else sees. Like, you couldn't pay me $1 million to recreate any of these, right? I just couldn't do it. Do you ever struggle with that imposter syndrome of I don't see the talent that other people see?
Yes and no. I try not to put myself too deep into other things and try to stay on task, because I'm still trying to find my road. It's good to look off and get inspiration and try to figure out and to see how other people did it and all that. But I don't want to rely on I want to copy him, or I want to copy that style. But I did try that when I was younger. I wanted to take this style, and mesh it, and because that was the toughest thing, to try to find something that you could be known for. Because when you think of an Alex Ross, you know what that is, or a Del Otto, you see it, you know what that is. Even Michelangelo, even the classics, or Renoir, or Monet, and I think that's. Next question.
What are the proverbial they, what are they going to remember about Ash?
Ugh.
How would you want them to describe, a Michelangelo or a Monet or a Renoir? How are they gonna,
Renoir.
how are they gonna remember you? What are you gonna be known for?
Now that's a tough question, because I'm trying to. He has this like grand question, which I like, but it's like quality, I think, in really how I capture the face. It is kind of a pet peeve when I see, and I guess it falls into now because when I do so much faces and celebrity faces and friends of faces, and it's funny when I paint a person, even though I don't know them, I'm trying to figure them out on looking at that face, the eyes, the nose, how they lived. It's weird. It's like I create this whole little story in my head, and I don't even know them. But actually, that happened with a portrait that I did of my grandma, and I didn't. Even though I knew her, it felt like I was gathering more information when I was painting her. Each wrinkle in her face, or a little color speck in the eye. And I think just a really good painter, I think, when it comes down to it.
I like it. Have you had any oh crap moments?
I wish I had an answer for you, but not right now. Any portrait, you might lose a lot of doubt on what you're doing in the moment. It's like a huge roller coaster. You're starting at the bottom and you're trying to work that way up. You hear every crackle of the train, and you're like and then you find a good hump, and then all of a sudden you might go down and like, oh, I feel depressed, and then you might, because you're like, oh, how am I gonna figure this out? And that's the struggle that I find a lot painting, is like how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna finish it. I'm trying to see the finish line. I see it, but it's kind of hard to see. I hope I get this eye right, but then I have to get the other one right, and then it's just it's the struggle of not thinking so much, and I have to keep trying to do that. Like, calm down, don't think too much on it. You'll find its way, and then you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then before you know it, it's done. And I think that's the relief that I always want to get to while I'm starting another painting or picture or card or whatever, because the end result is what gets you that high. And then if it's for a client, it's even better, because then they're happy. And it's funny how I'm talking with you and I veer off and I forgot your question a long time ago.
Do you, as an artist, have I guess maybe self-control to say, okay, this piece is done? Like, you've put your finishing mark on it, or could you like touch the piece endlessly until somebody would force you to stop?
Depends on the portrait. Depends on the piece. There are some that I wish I could go back and like add this or add that, but yeah, I can on 85% of the work I can find a finishing point.
We're here days before Megacon 2024.
Mm-hmm.
What are your hopes and goals for Megacon this year?
Make money. I mean, that's the truth of these things. You make a product, you sell the product. That's the whole purpose of. To be honest, that's the honest question.
Yeah.
The secondary is to have fun, meet people, make good relationships, because that's more of a more important point too, is that you can't really sell anything unless you make a relationship with that person. It's kind of boring, because then you get more out of it when you know the person, you know what they're looking for, you know what they want, and it could rub the feeling out of them, like a nostalgia feeling, or that's my favorite hero, I really wanted that, you captured that really well. Also, things I don't want to get out of this con is sick, because you can get the con flu. God, man, I hate that. That's the worst. But anybody that wants to do Comic Cons, vitamin up. Kids out there, want to sell your trinkets and your wares. I always tell my daughter, because she's trying to be a somewhat artist too. before you try to even think of gathering people or gathering followers or whatever, you need to make a good product. If you make a good product, they will come to you. And it's better to sell if you have a good product. If you can't make a good product, you're not going to get nowhere.
What special pieces are you bringing to Megacon this year?
So I'm bringing the Black Panther to show.
Not to sell?
Not to sell.
Why?
Maybe. Depends.
Okay.
Let's get to that later. But this to sell. Bucky. Hulk. Tron. Maybe. That's a personal piece, but if price is right, I'm good to go. And some Superman and a couple of covers and cards.
Tell us about your Megacon t-shirt. What inspired that? What did you want to accomplish other than Victoria bossing you around?
I wanted to make a combination of things that I got when I lived here at the time, and I guess the feeling of Florida. So I tried to integrate some palm trees, which was your great idea of doing a mohawk, and I like that. So I tried to intertwine that. There was one of my favorite coasters was Mount Everest at Animal Kingdom, so I wanted to do that and flare out how the part flares out at the top. A skull, of course, of the logo, and I thought the spider looked really cool. I guess I got that from Texas because most spiders there are just gigantic. There was a lot of lizards here, but I didn't want to add that. But I thought the spider looked really cool. I was going to do a Black Widow or Spider-Man to make it more comic booky, but I really liked. I just for some reason wanted to add a spider and a comic book, just a skull reading a comic book and make it more relatable. If there was a remake, I would like to do the Shadow. I don't know why. I like the Shadow. I love that. I love that movie for some reason. With the name escaped me.
What lurks in the hearts of people, man? The Shadow.
The Shadow. God, you know the hit line. Alec Baldwin. Man, I love that movie I know it's kind of, but it was just made really well, I think, at that time, and gave off a good vibe with the Shadow. So, if they remake it, that would be a cool artistic, doing the posters and all that jazz. That would be pretty cool. Because I got a couple of covers that since he's signing, I'm doing a couple covers for him. So.